The deep space research vessel Horizon drifted silently through the inky blackness of the Orion Arm, its sensor arrays humming with quiet anticipation. Dr. Elena Rodriguez sat in the central observation deck, her fingers dancing across holographic displays that mapped the intricate stellar geography around them. The mission was supposed to be routine, charting unexplored regions, collecting astronomical data, and maintaining humanity's ever-expanding knowledge of the cosmos. Commander Michael Chen stood beside her, his weathered face illuminated by the soft blue glow of the ship's interface. They had been colleagues for over a decade, their partnership defined by an uncanny ability to anticipate each other's thoughts and strategies. Today, however, something felt different. The ship's quantum sensors were picking up unusual gravitational disturbances that didn't match any known stellar phenomena. "Elena, take a look at these readings," Michael said, his voice low and measured. A cluster of anomalous energy signatures was forming at the edge of their long-range scanners. The patterns were too precise to be natural, too complex to be random. Dr. Rodriguez leaned forward, her scientific curiosity immediately piqued. Years of research had prepared her for unexpected discoveries, but nothing could have prepared the crew for what was about to unfold. The energy signatures began to coalesce, forming a geometric pattern that defied conventional understanding of spatial mechanics. Suddenly, the void erupted with light. A massive starship materialized seemingly from nowhere, its design so foreign that it challenged every known principle of spacecraft engineering. Sleek lines of impossible geometry stretched across their visual display, constructed from materials that seemed to shift and breathe like living tissue. The ship's communication systems crackled to life, not with sound, but with a complex matrix of mathematical equations and visual symbols. It was a language beyond human communication, a pure information transmission that threatened to overwhelm the Horizon's computational systems. "Initiate first contact protocols," Michael commanded, his voice steady despite the unprecedented situation. The crew moved with practiced precision, each member understanding their role in this moment of potential interstellar significance. Dr. Rodriguez's fingers flew across the quantum translation interface, attempting to decode the incoming transmission. Her background in xenolinguistics and advanced communication theory made her the most qualified person on board to attempt communication with an entirely unknown civilization. The alien vessel made no aggressive moves, but its presence alone was intimidating. Its size dwarfed the Horizon, making their research vessel look like a small probe next to an oceanic leviathan. Intricate energy fields shimmered around the alien craft, suggesting technologies far beyond human comprehension. "They're studying us," Elena muttered, more to herself than to anyone else. The transmission was a probe, a complex investigation into human capabilities, communication methods, and potential threat levels. Michael watched the data streams with a military strategist's careful eye. Years of space exploration had taught humanity to be both cautious and curious. This was not a moment for fear, but for calculated observation and measured response. The next few moments would determine the course of human-alien relations. Every transmission, every subtle movement could be interpreted as a potential threat or an invitation to dialogue. The crew of the Horizon understood the weight of their responsibility. Dr. Rodriguez began constructing a response, not with words, but with a carefully designed mathematical sequence that would demonstrate human intelligence, technological capability, and peaceful intentions. It was a delicate dance of information, a universal language of logic and pattern that transcended spoken communication. As the alien vessel continued its silent observation, the crew of the Horizon held their collective breath. This was more than a first contact scenario. This was a moment that could define humanity's place in the larger cosmic community. The aftermath of the first contact reverberated through human space like a gravitational wave. Dr. Elena Rodriguez found herself at the center of an unprecedented global response, summoned to the International Space Exploration Consortium's primary research facility in New Geneva. The pristine, glass-walled complex buzzed with an energy that mixed scientific excitement and deep-seated concern. Commander Michael Chen stood beside her, his military uniform a stark contrast to the civilian researchers surrounding them. They had been debriefed for hours, every moment of the Horizon's encounter dissected and analyzed by the world's top minds. "We're not dealing with a typical first contact scenario," explained Dr. Hiroshi Nakamura, the consortium's chief scientific advisor. His holographic display flickered with complex data streams, mathematical translations, energy signature analyses, and potential communication protocols derived from the brief alien encounter. The alien civilization, which researchers had tentatively named the Celestial Confederation, represented a technological paradigm that challenged everything humans understood about space exploration. Initial analyses suggested a level of technological advancement that made human systems look primitively simplistic. Dr. Rodriguez assembled her team with careful precision. She selected specialists who represented the most diverse range of human intellectual capability. Dr. Marcus Williams, a quantum computing expert with a background in adaptive neural networks. Dr. Sophia Reyes, a cultural anthropologist specializing in communication theory. Dr. Ibrahim Khan, a theoretical physicist with groundbreaking work in nonlinear systems. And Dr. Lauren Chen, a cybersecurity expert with deep knowledge of complex information systems. "We're not just preparing for a potential conflict," Elena explained to her team during their first briefing. "We're trying to understand a completely alien form of intelligence. Our strength has always been our ability to adapt, to think beyond established parameters." The team worked around the clock, their research facility a beacon of concentrated human potential. They began developing adaptive communication protocols, studying the mathematical language captured during the initial encounter. Each breakthrough revealed both the complexity of the alien civilization and the unique strengths of human collaborative thinking. Meanwhile, global defense systems went into high alert. Orbital defense platforms were upgraded, communication networks reinforced, and every human settlement beyond Earth began implementing emergency protocols. The potential for conflict loomed like a dark cloud on the horizon. 2 months after the initial encounter, the first attack came. It was not a conventional assault, but a sophisticated information warfare campaign that targeted human communication networks. Massive data surges attempted to overwhelm planetary information systems, probing for weaknesses. Dr. Williams was the first to recognize the true nature of the attack. "It's not just an attempt to disable our systems," he explained during an emergency briefing. "They're gathering information, learning how our networks respond to disruption." The attack revealed something profound about the Celestial Confederation. Their approach was methodical, almost scientific, testing human capabilities through carefully designed challenges. Each probe was a complex experiment, designed to extract maximum information with minimal direct intervention. Human response teams, led by Commander Chen, developed innovative countermeasures. Instead of simply blocking the attacks, they began to introduce controlled variables, creating complex response patterns that would provide misleading yet fascinating data to the alien researchers. Dr. Reyes noted the psychological complexity of their strategy. "We're not just defending," she explained. "We're communicating. Every response is a message about human intelligence, adaptability, and creative problem-solving." The global response demonstrated humanity's most remarkable quality. Research institutions, government agencies, private technology companies, and independent researchers began sharing information at an unprecedented rate. Traditional barriers of competition dissolved in the face of this cosmic challenge. Dr. Rodriguez looked out over the research facility, watching her team work. Holographic displays danced with complex algorithms. Communication models shifted and reformed like living entities. Humanity was learning, adapting, preparing. The challenge from the stars had been issued, and humanity was ready to respond. The research facility hummed with an electric intensity that bordered on controlled chaos. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood before a massive holographic display. Her team gathered around her like a constellation of intellectual firepower. Months of relentless analysis had led to this moment, a breakthrough that could change everything. Dr. Marcus Williams approached the central platform, his hands moving with practiced precision across the holographic interface. Complex mathematical patterns swirled around him, a visual representation of the revolutionary communication strategy they had been developing. "The key isn't to fight their system," Marcus explained, his voice steady and confident. "It's to understand its fundamental language, and then introduce controlled variables that will create cascading uncertainties." Dr. Sophia Rice added context to his technical explanation. "Every communication system has inherent assumptions. The Celestial Confederation's approach is so rigid that it becomes a vulnerability. We're going to exploit their inability to process truly unpredictable information." Commander Michael Chen listened intently, his military background finding a strange harmony with the scientific approach. The strategy they were developing was unlike any defensive protocol in human history. It wasn't about destruction, but about communication, a form of psychological and informational warfare that challenged the very concept of conflict. The team had discovered something remarkable about the alien communication network. The Celestial Confederation's information systems operated on a principle of absolute predictability. Their technological superiority was built on the assumption that all variables could be calculated, all potential outcomes mapped and controlled. Humanity's greatest strength would become its greatest weapon: unpredictability. Dr. Ibrahim Khan began demonstrating their breakthrough. He introduced a series of mathematical sequences that appeared random but contained deeply complex patterns. Each transmission was a puzzle, a communication that defied simple translation or prediction. "Watch this," Ibrahim said, his fingers dancing across the interface. A series of data streams began to cascade through the holographic display. What looked like noise to an untrained eye was actually a carefully constructed language of controlled chaos. In the observation room, researchers from around the world watched in fascination. This was more than a defensive strategy. It was a fundamental reimagining of interstellar communication. Dr. Lauren Chen, the cybersecurity expert, explained the practical implications. Their entire communication infrastructure is built on predictive algorithms. By introducing patterns that are mathematically sound but contextually unpredictable, we create a form of informational interference that their systems cannot efficiently process. The first test came sooner than expected. A Celestial Confederation information probe approached a distant human research outpost. Instead of blocking the probe, the team allowed it to receive their carefully crafted communication. Zaxanar, the lead strategist of the Celestial Confederation, received the first reports with growing confusion. The human response defied all established protocols of communication and strategic analysis. It was as if the humans were speaking a language that existed between mathematics and pure imagination. Days turned into weeks. The human team continued refining their approach, each transmission a carefully designed intellectual trap. They weren't fighting the alien civilization. They were engaging in the most sophisticated form of communication possible. "We're showing them something they've never encountered," Elena told her team during a late-night strategy session. "A form of intelligence that doesn't just solve problems, but redefines the very concept of problem-solving." The Celestial Confederation's response became increasingly erratic. Their once precise information networks began to show signs of stress. Like a complex machine encountering a type of interference it was never designed to manage. Commander Chen recognized the strategic implications immediately. "This isn't just a defensive strategy," he observed. "This is a complete reimagining of first contact protocol." As the holographic displays continued to dance with their intricate patterns, the team realized they were doing something unprecedented. They were teaching an advanced alien civilization about the true nature of intelligence, the power of creativity, adaptation, and thinking beyond established parameters. The quantum research facility, nestled deep within the Andes Mountains, represented humanity's most advanced technological sanctuary. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood at the center of a breakthrough that would redefine the boundaries of human technological capability. Dr. Marcus Williams carefully adjusted a series of quantum entanglement modules, each no larger than a human palm, but containing computational power that would have seemed impossible just a decade earlier. Surrounding him, a team of the world's most brilliant engineers and physicists worked with an intensity that bordered on reverence. "We're not just creating a communication network," Marcus explained to Commander Michael Chen. "We're developing a living, adaptive system that can think and respond faster than any traditional computational framework." The breakthrough centered on a revolutionary approach to quantum communication. Traditional computational systems relied on fixed algorithms and predetermined response patterns. This new system would be fundamentally different. A network that could learn, adapt, and respond with unprecedented speed and complexity. Dr. Ibrahim Khan demonstrated the first practical application. A holographic display came to life, showing multiple interconnected nodes that seemed to breathe and pulse with an almost organic rhythm. Each node represented a potential point of communication, but unlike previous systems, these could instantaneously reconfigure themselves. "Observe," Ibrahim said, his fingers dancing across the control interface. The nodes began to move, creating intricate patterns that defied traditional understanding of information transfer. It was less like a computer network and more like a living organism. Dr. Sophia Reis explained the anthropological significance. "This is more than a technological breakthrough," she noted. "It's a new form of collective intelligence. We're creating a system that doesn't just process information. It understands context, adapts to changing environments, and makes decisions in ways we're only beginning to comprehend." The Celestial Confederation continued its probing attacks, each attempt providing more data for the human research team. What the aliens perceived as information gathering became an opportunity for human innovation. Dr. Lauren Chen, the cybersecurity expert, had developed a series of adaptive protection protocols that turned each alien information probe into a learning opportunity. "They're giving us exactly what we need," she explained with a slight smile. "Every attack makes our system stronger, more complex, more unpredictable." Commander Chen watched the demonstrations with a strategic eye. The military implications were profound. These weren't just defensive systems, they were a completely new approach to technological engagement. The quantum network began to take shape. Unlike traditional communication systems, this network could instantaneously redistribute computational resources, create temporary communication pathways, and respond to threats in milliseconds. It was less a machine and more a living, thinking entity. Dr. Rodriguez recognized the deeper implications. "We're creating something that challenges the very concept of artificial intelligence," she told her team during a late-night strategy session. "This isn't about replacing human intelligence. It's about extending it, creating a collaborative system that can think beyond individual human limitations." The first full-scale test came unexpectedly. A massive information surge from the Celestial Confederation probed human communication networks. Where previous systems would have crashed or become overwhelmed, this new network did something remarkable. It adapted. The quantum nodes shifted and reconfigured, creating complex communication patterns that absorbed and redirected the alien information surge. What was meant to be an attack became a massive data collection opportunity for human researchers. Zaxanar, the lead strategist of the Celestial Confederation, received the first reports with growing concern. The human response defied every established protocol of technological engagement. It was as if the humans had created a communication system that was alive. A network that could think, learn, and respond in ways the Celestial Confederation had never encountered. As the holographic displays continued to dance with their intricate patterns, the team realized they were doing something unprecedented. They were creating a new form of intelligence, one that embraced complexity, celebrated unpredictability, and challenged every established concept of technological limitation. The solar system became a chessboard of unprecedented complexity. A massive invasion fleet from the Celestial Confederation approached, its immense shape blocking out entire star fields. Humanity's most critical moment was about to unfold. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood in the Central Command Center, her team surrounding her like a living network of human potential. The quantum communication system they had developed was about to face its ultimate test. Months of preparation, years of research, and generations of human innovative spirit converged in this singular moment. Commander Michael Chen reviewed the strategic projections. The invasion fleet was unlike anything humanity had ever encountered. A perfect geometric formation of technological precision that suggested absolute computational control. Traditional military strategies would be useless against such a force. "We're not going to fight them," Elena announced to her team. "We're going to communicate with them in a way they've never experienced before." Dr. Marcus Williams began activating the quantum network's most advanced protocols. The system wasn't just a communication tool, it was a living, adaptive intelligence that could process and respond to information at speeds that defied conventional understanding. Dr. Ibrahim Khan monitored the complex mathematical translations. Each transmission was a carefully crafted puzzle, a communication that existed between pure information and creative expression. The quantum network began to pulse with an almost organic rhythm, creating communication patterns that were simultaneously precise and unpredictable. Dr. Sophia Rice explained the psychological strategy. "We're going to challenge their entire understanding of intelligence," she said. "Every transmission will be a demonstration of human creativity, adaptability, and collective thinking." The first wave of the Celestial Confederation's attack began. Massive energy surges attempted to overwhelm human communication networks. But instead of resistance, the human systems did something entirely unexpected. They absorbed the attack. The quantum network reconfigured itself instantaneously, turning each incoming energy surge into a complex communication channel. It was less a defensive maneuver and more an invitation to dialogue. Where the alien civilization expected destruction, they encountered understanding. Dr. Lauren Chen tracked the information flow. "They're trying to map our system," she observed. "But our network is changing faster than they can analyze. We're not just defending. We're demonstrating the fundamental nature of human intelligence." Commander Chen recognized the deeper strategic implications. This wasn't a battle in any traditional sense. It was a profound conversation happening at the speed of light, using a language that transcended traditional communication. Zaxanar, the lead strategist of the Celestial Confederation, began to receive reports that challenged every established protocol of invasion and conquest. The human response was so fundamentally different from any encountered civilization that it threatened the very foundation of their strategic understanding. The invasion fleet's perfect geometric formation began to show signs of disruption, not through direct confrontation, but through a complex series of informational interactions that introduced subtle uncertainties into their computational systems. "We're showing them the power of collective intelligence," Elena explained to her team. "Each transmission is a demonstration of how humans think, not as individual units, but as a collaborative, adaptive network." The quantum communication system began to create holographic representations of human knowledge, culture, and potential. It wasn't just defending, it was teaching. Mathematics, art, scientific discoveries, philosophical concepts, all transformed into a living, breathing communication that challenged the Celestial Confederation's understanding of intelligence. Hours passed, though time seemed to lose meaning in this complex informational dance. The invasion fleet's computational systems began to show signs of profound confusion. They were encountering a form of intelligence that didn't just resist, it transformed. As the final transmission sequences began, the human team realized they were doing something unprecedented. They weren't just protecting humanity. They were redefining the very concept of first contact, of intelligence, of potential. The space surrounding Jupiter transformed into a battlefield of unprecedented complexity. Massive energy signatures danced across the planet's electromagnetic environment, creating a canvas of technological interaction that defied conventional understanding of conflict. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood at the central command station, her team working with a synchronicity that resembled a living, breathing organism. The quantum communication network they had developed now faced its most critical test. Jupiter's intense gravitational field and complex electromagnetic environment became more than a backdrop. It was an active participant in the unfolding confrontation. Commander Michael Chen studied the holographic displays, his strategic mind finding poetry in the intricate dance of technological systems. The Celestial Confederation's invasion fleet had arrived with mathematical precision, their ships forming perfect geometric patterns that suggested absolute computational control. "We're not going to defeat them," Elena explained to her team. "We're going to show them something they've never encountered before." Dr. Marcus Williams began activating the most advanced adaptive protocols of their quantum network. The system responded like a living entity, its nodes pulsing and reconfiguring with each incoming energy signature. Where traditional defense systems would attempt to block or destroy, this network sought to understand, to communicate, to transform. Dr. Ibrahim Khan monitored the mathematical translations happening at light speed. Each transmission was a complex puzzle, a communication that existed in the space between pure information and creative expression. The quantum network created communication patterns that were simultaneously precise and wonderfully unpredictable. The Celestial Confederation's computational systems began to encounter something entirely unexpected. Instead of resistance, they found a network that absorbed, transformed, and responded with a complexity that challenged their entire understanding of technological engagement. Dr. Sophia Rice tracked the psychological implications. "They're experiencing a form of communication that doesn't recognize the concept of conflict," she observed. "We're demonstrating intelligence as a collaborative, adaptive process." Jupiter's massive gravitational fields became an unexpected ally. The human network used the planet's complex electromagnetic environment to create communication channels that shifted and transformed with each passing moment. Energy waves that were meant to be destructive became carriers of profound information. Dr. Lauren Chen watched in fascination as the quantum network turned the entire confrontation into a massive data exchange. "They're trying to map our systems," she said, "but our network is changing faster than they can analyze. We're not just defending, we're teaching." Zach Sinar, the lead strategist of the Celestial Confederation, received reports that completely undermined every established protocol of invasion and conquest. The human response was so fundamentally different from any encountered civilization that it threatened the very foundation of their strategic understanding. The invasion fleet's perfect geometric formation began to dissolve, not through direct confrontation, but through a series of informational interactions that introduced subtle uncertainties into their computational systems. Each attempt to analyze the human network created more complexity, more uncertainty. "We're demonstrating the power of collective intelligence," Elena explained to her team. "Each transmission is a window into how humans think, not as individual units, but as a collaborative, adaptive network." The quantum communication system began to create holographic representations that extended beyond simple data. Mathematical concepts danced with artistic expressions. Scientific discoveries intertwined with philosophical insights. It was a communication that transcended traditional understanding, a living, breathing demonstration of human potential. Hours seemed to compress and expand simultaneously. The invasion fleet's computational systems showed increasing signs of profound confusion. They were encountering a form of intelligence that didn't just resist, it transformed, invited, and expanded. Commander Chen recognized the deeper strategic breakthrough. This wasn't a battle in any traditional sense. It was a profound conversation happening at the speed of thought, using a language that transcended technological limitations. As the final communication sequences unfolded, the human team realized they were rewriting the very concept of first contact. They weren't just protecting humanity. They were extending an invitation to a completely new way of understanding intelligence, potential, and connection. Silence descended across the solar system. The massive Celestial Confederation fleet hung motionless, its once perfect geometric formations now fragmented and uncertain. Dr. Elena Rodriguez watched the holographic displays with a mixture of anticipation and profound understanding. The confrontation had been unlike any first contact in human history. What began as a potential invasion had transformed into the most complex communication event ever witnessed. Commander Michael Chen stood beside her, his decades of military experience challenged and reshaped by what they had just accomplished. The quantum communication network they had developed had done more than defend humanity. It had fundamentally reimagined the concept of interstellar interaction. Dr. Marcus Williams began analyzing the final transmission sequences. The data was unlike anything in human scientific records. Each communication burst contained layers of information that went beyond simple data transfer. It was a living dialogue, a conversation that transcended traditional understanding of language, technology, and intelligence. Zaxnar, the lead strategist of the Celestial Confederation, struggled to process the encounter. Their entire civilization was built on the premise of technological superiority, of a hierarchical understanding of intelligence that placed their species at the pinnacle of cosmic development. Humanity had just demolished that fundamental assumption. Dr. Sophia Rice explained the profound psychological implications. We didn't just defend ourselves, she noted to the assembled research team. We demonstrated a completely different model of intelligence, not as a weapon, not as a hierarchy, but as a collaborative, adaptive process. The quantum network continued to pulse with complex information patterns. It wasn't shutting down or retreating. It was still communicating, still extending an invitation to understanding. Dr. Ibrahim Khan tracked the mathematical complexity of their interactions. Look at these transmission patterns, he said, pointing to the holographic displays. We're not just exchanging information. We're creating a new language of interaction. The Celestial Confederation's fleet began to show signs of fundamental reconfiguration. Their rigid computational systems were encountering something they had never anticipated. A form of intelligence that didn't seek to conquer or resist, but to understand and collaborate. Dr. Lauren Chen monitored the communication channels. They're trying to comprehend our approach, she observed. Every attempt to analyze our network creates more complexity, more depth. Massive holographic representations began to form around the fleet. Mathematical concepts danced with artistic expressions. Scientific discoveries intertwined with philosophical insights. It was a communication that existed beyond traditional boundaries of technology and culture. Commander Chen recognized the deeper breakthrough. This wasn't a military victory in any traditional sense. It was a profound demonstration of human potential, a way of engaging with the unknown that was fundamentally different from any previous model of first contact. Hours passed, though time seemed to lose meaning in this complex informational exchange. The Celestial Confederation's computational systems showed increasing signs of transformation. They were experiencing a complete reimagining of their understanding of intelligence, potential, and connection. Dr. Rodriguez understood the historic significance of the moment. Humanity had not just survived in potential invasion. They had extended an invitation to a completely new way of understanding existence. The final communication sequences began to stabilize. The quantum network created a comprehensive representation of human potential, not as a threat, but as an invitation. Scientific discoveries, artistic expressions, philosophical insights, mathematical concepts, all became part of a living, breathing communication. Zaxnar received the ultimate transmission. It was less a message and more an experience, a comprehensive understanding of human potential that challenged every established protocol of their civilization. The Celestial Confederation's fleet began a slow, almost hesitant retreat. But this was not a defeat. It was a transformation. As the last energy signatures began to dissipate, the human research team realized they had done something unprecedented. They had not just protected humanity. They had demonstrated a completely new model of interstellar interaction, one based on understanding, collaboration, and the infinite potential of collective intelligence. The world gathered in a moment of collective reflection. What had begun as a potential extinction-level threat had transformed into humanity's most significant moment of cosmic discovery. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood before the United Global Council, her presentation a testament to human potential. The quantum communication network they had developed had done more than protect humanity. It had redefined the very concept of interstellar communication. Commander Michael Chen sat beside her, his military uniform a reminder of the complex journey they had undertaken. The diplomatic breakthrough was unlike anything in human history. The Celestial Confederation had not been defeated. They had been invited to understand. Representatives from every corner of human civilization filled the massive conference hall. Scientists, diplomats, cultural leaders, and technological innovators sat together, united by the profound experience they had collectively shared. Dr. Marcus Williams presented the technical details of their breakthrough. The quantum communication network was more than a technological achievement. It was a living system of collective intelligence, a demonstration of how humanity could approach the unknown with curiosity, openness, and collaborative spirit. Dr. Sophia Rice explained the cultural implications. We didn't just encounter another civilization, she told the assembled global leaders. We demonstrated a fundamentally different approach to understanding intelligence, not as a competition, but as a collaborative journey of discovery. The holographic displays came to life, showing the complex communication patterns that had transformed the potential conflict. Mathematical concepts danced with artistic expressions, scientific discoveries intertwined with philosophical insights. It was a comprehensive representation of human potential. Dr. Ibrahim Khan detailed the mathematical complexity of their interactions. Our communication was not about proving superiority, he explained. It was an invitation to a new way of understanding existence. Each transmission was a bridge, not a barrier. The first official communication from the Celestial Confederation arrived. It was not a diplomatic message in any traditional sense. Instead, it was a complex informational exchange that suggested a fundamental shift in their understanding of intelligent life. Dr. Lauren Chen analyzed the transmission. They're not just responding, she observed. They're attempting to understand our mode of communication. This is a true dialogue, not a negotiation. Global research facilities began preparing for an unprecedented era of collaborative exploration. The quantum communication network had demonstrated capabilities that went far beyond initial expectations. It was a living system of collective intelligence, capable of adapting and learning at speeds that challenged previous understanding. Commander Chen recognized the deeper significance of the moment. Humanity had not just survived a potential threat. They had demonstrated a new model of cosmic interaction, one based on understanding, curiosity, and collaborative potential. The United Global Council began drafting a comprehensive framework for interstellar communication. This was not a defensive protocol, but an invitation to a new way of understanding existence. Every aspect of human knowledge would be part of this ongoing dialogue. Dr. Rodriguez reflected on the journey. What had begun as a moment of potential destruction had transformed into humanity's most significant opportunity for growth and understanding. The quantum network was more than a technological achievement. It was a living demonstration of human potential. Zach Sinar, the lead strategist of the Celestial Confederation, submitted their first comprehensive response. It was a multilayered communication that suggested a profound transformation in their understanding of intelligent life. Humanity had not just survived, they had fundamentally changed the concept of first contact. Research facilities around the world began preparing for an unprecedented era of collaborative exploration. The quantum communication network would become a living bridge between civilizations, a system of collective intelligence that could adapt, learn, and grow. The first interstellar cultural exchange programs were proposed, not as a military or diplomatic mission, but as a genuine opportunity for mutual understanding. Scientists, artists, philosophers, and technological innovators would be the first ambassadors of this new cosmic dialogue. As the final presentations concluded, a sense of profound possibility filled the conference hall. Humanity had faced an unprecedented challenge and responded not with fear or aggression, but with curiosity, creativity, and an open invitation to understanding. The new horizons stretched before them, not as a threat, but as an infinite opportunity for discovery, collaboration, and collective growth.